Matthew then reached into his pocket and took out a small mirror.
Here, I'll show you.
Yay, story time! Matthew handed it to me and sent a wave of blue mist into it. It began to glow until it enveloped the room in a bright light. When the light subsided, I was back in the main hall of the demon castle. I looked around, feeling unable to move. But I could practically see everything as clear as I had before. No, look at you all topless and marked up. However, my focus gathered on Mathew, sitting on the throne as if it was his and reading a book. For some reason, Mathew reminded me of James at that moment. Well, they are brothers, I'm just saying. They both got the same blackish-gray hair. He seemed engrossed in his reading each word and absorbing each meaning. Him on the throne surprisingly fit him. There was something about him.
This is an easy read.
Aw, good for you. A saddened cry, however, echoed through the hall, forcing Mathew to stop, close the book, and stand up from the throne.
Mother?
Aww, go to her. I looked around, confused at the cry and where it was coming from. It seemed just to echo through the room without any source of direction. Mathew sighed and placed the book on the armrest of the throne before he cupped his hands together.
Fly and comfort her, will you?
What? As Mathew opened his hands, a small bird with blue and purple feathers perked up from the hiding place. Mathew smiled before releasing it into the air. Aw, I want heard of this. I watched as it flew off and glided through an open archway. The sound of its flapping wings faded into the air as it flew farther into the castle.
Come on.
I could tell that Mathew was holding his breath. He must have cared very deeply for his mother. It was incredibly sweet. 'Cause he's a good boy. At last, the sound of crying stopped, making Mathew release a happy sigh.
There we go.
Attaboy. Such a good son. Also, the relationship they have with their mom is a good indicator for a girlfriend of what kind of relationship you're gonna have. Mathew cracked his knuckles in approval and reached for his book. However, before he could even graze the cover with his fingers, the sound of pattering entered the room.
You! What son? Away from the throne!
You're here. Yay.
All right.
No, not alright. Fuck him.
Ah, what am I going to do with you? You're a child.
He is not. He is a man. If you've seen Linkara, you get that joke. Punch. Mathew glared at the servant, as the servant quickly brushed off the throne, like there was dust all over it. Oh, come on, he's pretty clean, just saying.
The next time I see you on the throne, I will inform the Demon Lord. Understand?
Knowing where father is, he might actually appreciate it.
Yes.
The demon servant continued to brush over the throne before knocking the book from his armrest. Mathew froze as the servant quickly patted over and picked it up.
What is this? A book? Why do you have it?
Because reading is magic?
I was reading.
Yeah, exactly.
You read?
Hey!
You don't need to read. You're never going to need knowledge for anything, fourth son.
Yes, he will. He could totally roll if he wanted to. I saw Matthew's eye twitch, making me grimace. This servant sure had a mouth. It was annoying at the very least. Matthew, I'm just saying I think you can take him.
I'll just take this book and bring it to the heir himself to read.
He's probably already
reading
read
faster
it.
than the library can provide.
Oh, but my book. Bastard.
But that's...
Raestro's next area of study.
The servant began to walk away, ignoring Matthew's glare of anger. The servant stopped, however, to look up to Mathew, to pound one more nail into the wound.
Let's face it, kid. You have the smallest horns,
Hey,
the
they're
smallest
petite.
frame, and the least amount of power among the noble
Not
sons.
true.
You'll never be like them, so just stop trying.
Hey!
Use your incubus powers on others who have a child fetish or something.
Okay, that got weird. Laurel totally does not have a child fetish. Shut up. The demon looked at Mathew up and down before rushing off, wherever he came from. As the servant disappeared, Mathew summoned a knife and chucked it in the direction where the servant left. The knife embedded itself in the hard stone beside the door into the hall.
Ugh, I hate that guy.
I hate him too.
Disgusting pig fawn.
I know, right? Mathew walked over and sat on the foot of the throne, clearly aggravated. Eventually, Mathew stopped the magic, blowing the mirror and holding it in his hands before looking to me.
I had hoped to show you my mother, but
too.
I guess the mirror wanted to show you something else. Sorry.
Yeah, your dad's assistant's a jerk. Eh. That servant is terrible.
Tell me about it. He served the demon lord almost his whole life. Ugly pig fawn.
You know, working for your dad, I see why that can breed that kind of attitude, though. Mathew laughed while I laughed at the insult. It was good to see Mathew in good spirits, despite what was shown and what was happening around us. Still, it was sad to see that he was considered the child of the noble sons. He is very clearly a man. He could read books of knowledge that his brothers hadn't read, and he seemed caring. It was insulting to see someone tear him down like that. With that adorable face. Mathew smiled at me before pocketing the mirror.
Whatever. Thankfully we got out of there, so I could be with my brothers like a normal family.
Aww.
No hierarchies, no politics, no pig fawns, nothing.
Oh, I don't know. I think every family has a pig fawn. It's just figuring out who it is. I smiled. It was good that he saw the positive side. However, his face slowly turned to a sad one before he looked down at the bed. Mathew?
You've done a lot for me and my brothers.
I have.
Sheltering us, letting us continue to live here.
I know.
It may not seem like
it
much,
seems like a
but
lot.
for us it's everything.
Yeah.
But I don't want you to get hurt because of us.
Aww. Your concern is sweet, but we got this. I watched in speechless silence as Mathew lifted his head, his eyes full of almost hopelessness.
That's why I'm sorry.
Don't be. Mathew lowered his head in shame. I couldn't help but feel my heart squeeze within my chest at the sight. He truly cared. Mathew let out a small sigh before looking to me with a new smile. He hid his sadness well, but I could tell he was upset about the whole ordeal.
Alright. You need to sleep and I
Yes,
need
I
to
do.
make dinner. I'll wake you up when dinner is done.
Aw, best boyfriend. Go make me food. Mathew gently pressed me back down onto the bed, resolved in what had to happen. And I will give him a quick kissy then. I couldn't let him leave without doing something. Aw, shucked face. I quickly pulled Mathew down to me, lifted my head, and gently kissed him, softly laying my hand on his cheek to keep his face close. Mathew stared in deep surprise before hesitatingly kissing me back, caressing my cheek and slightly melting at the touch of our lips. A soft sigh escaped his lips before he slowly pulled away with a smile. He gently licked his lips, making me go red in the face at the simple gesture. He let a satisfied sigh before nuzzling my forehead.
Go to sleep.
Aww, I don't want to make out. And with that, he stood up and left the room, leaving me to rest as per his request. I smiled to myself before relaxing into the mattress. You again. I suddenly tensed up. I felt majorly uneasy. Something wasn't right. I felt it in my core. She must be here. The thought of her in the house infuriated me beyond belief. I had to make sure she was not here. I rolled out of bed and quickly left my room, wandering the halls and listening closely. She was a demon, but I was listening very intently. There was no way she could have been able to sneak up on me. I know you're here. Where are you? I could feel myself growl. It wasn't a matter of fear that she'd take away the boys anymore. Her very existence had lit a fire of rage within my gut, which only grew as each day went by. This feud was getting on my nerves, and I knew it would not end well for one of us. I wasn't going to lose to that demon bitch.
Leave me alone.
Yeah, bitch, leave him alone. My heart stopped. Then it was with Mathew. My mind flew into slow motion, playing fake images of Diana trying to seduce Mathew in my head to further fan the angry flames inside of me. I instinctively followed Mathew's voice. I was approaching the grand lobby and followed the commotion to the dining room. The sound was echoing from the kitchen, so I peeked inside while hiding around the corner. I almost growled at the sight. Mathew was holding on to one side of the kitchen island counter, while Diana, holding the other side, looked to him with a smirk.
Oh, come on, Mathew. Don't you like games? A game of tag sounds so fun.
No. No, it doesn't.
Not with you. Now go away!
Exactly. We don't want you to play with us.
I'm hurt. Wounded, truly.
Mathew, get a knife.
Did I go too far?
Yes, your very existence goes too far.
You went too far when you came here and attacked her.
Laurel. Name is Laurel.
Pity. And here I thought I was going to offer you the chance to become something better than just a simple incubus.
Hey, there is nothing simple about him. He makes murder fairy squirrels. What was Diana going on about? More than just an incubus. She was insane.
How about becoming the next demon lord?
How about go fuck yourself? I froze. What did she mean, becoming the next demon lord? The boys weren't in the demon world anymore. They had no claim to the throne anymore. Mathew stared at Diana, which made me worried.
The next demon lord?
Dude, don't say that like you want it.
Well, currently, I'm the contracted bride to the heir to the throne. Since the throne is open, it's available to any son of the demon lord's line.
Really? How interesting. Mathew, ...
Think about it. You'll
No.
gain the throne, the land, and a bride to continue
he
your
has someone,
lineage
sweetie.
with. Doesn't that sound like a perfect life for an incubus like you?
No, not really.
You'll show your father and mother how grown up you are.
He has other
That
ways
you're
of
not
doing
just
that.
some little cute boy people can take for granted.
Aw, he is very cute, but I don't think I take him for granted. I did thank him for Murder Fairy Squirrel, after all. I could feel myself gripping my fingers tightly in anger. How dare this girl try to convince Mathew to return to the demon world? He ran away from it. He didn't have to go back. He shouldn't go back. My mind began to wander. Imagine him saying yes. He would leave and his brothers would follow to bring him back. He'd be trapped because Diana would make sure they could never leave. Mathew would be the new demon lord with Diana as his queen, and I'd lose him.
Like I would believe you.
Exactly. Also, skeptical face, adorbs.
You don't need to believe me, Mathew. You just need to come back home with me.
No.
I promise. You'll be respected as you were supposed to be.
He is respected here, lady.
I'm not falling for it.
Good. Attaboy.
Fall for what? The truth? The truth is that your brothers still treat you like a child,
No, they don't.
even though the demon world is far behind you.
Hey.
The truth is that your little human love affair is fleeting.
Hey.
She can never see you as a man.
I can
just as
too.
a little boy who wants to grow up.
Not true. Well, this playthrough, I see him as a man. At other iterations of Mika with other names, not so much, because you just joke, but, you know, he is very manly. Shut up.
Stop it!
Yeah, get all aura blue. I stared as Mathew chucked a handful of knives at Diana, who ducked and dodged them with ease. They dug themselves in the tile wall before fading away as if they didn't exist.
You dare attack me?
Yes, he does.
I'm not going back. And that is final!
You tell him, sweetie. I could see Mathew's muscles tense and flex, wanting to attack Diana. The girl in question, however, took a deep breath and looked to Mathew with a pleading look.
You won't even return to your mother. She's been crying ever since you left.
Yeah, but that's her default state, so... Also, at some point, apron strings need to be cut, and you need to go be an adult. It sucks, but it's true.
Do not bring her into this!
Exactly. Mathew glared as Diana circled the island towards him.
She begged me to bring you back.
Uh-huh.
She wants you to get what you deserve. The throne.
Why don't I believe you?
I don't believe you!
Thank you. Mathew then walked away from Diana, heading to the fridge to start dinner. As if she wasn't there. Diana stopped and leaned against the counter.
She'll never love you, you know.
What? Who? His mom?
I don't mind. I care for her.
Aww.
The human girl.
Laurel,
You must be
yes?
joking. A human like her can't possibly provide you what you need.
I can give him all the
She's a
energy.
human. You're a demon.
He's an incubus, and I can give him energy. We're a good fit. I felt the urge to storm in and shut her mouth. I would give away my position, but I was growing extremely tired of Diana. You know what? I'm gonna barge in and set this girl straight. Her in her perfect, flowy, wavy locks. I decided to be assertive and quickly stepped into the room, rushing to be in front of Mathew. Dan and Mathew looked at me in surprise as I glared daggers at Diana. See, sweetie, you're not the only one with daggers. Get out.
Well, well, little human.
Yes.
You're awfully nosy in business that doesn't concern you.
It does concern me. Bitch.
Does it? I don't think a human would understand the importance of this affair.
Well, this human doesn't, because she doesn't know why you're so desperate to get the boys home. You're trying to avoid a war. But, you know, she doesn't care because she doesn't know this. She cares about Mathew and Mathew's happiness. You're asking him to lead be someone he doesn't want to be. That's not going to happen.
Oh? And what makes you so sure about that?
I'm the main character. I mean, I love him. Diana stared in shock at my exclamation. Was it not what she expected? I didn't care what she expected. I wasn't going to lose the man I'd grown to love.
You love him?
Yep. Yes, I love him. Diana's lips twitched, the edges curling into an amused smirk as she stared at me.
So what? A human's love isn't enough to understand the situation.
I can try.
A demon can never reciprocate human feeling.
I don't know. Mathew seems to have reciprocated very well on this floor, not too long ago. To both their surprises, however, Mathew stepped forward and put an arm around me, pulling me close to his body.
I love her.
Aww, sweetie. I saw the confidence Diana had shatter in her eyes as she stared at Mathew at his words. I could see the struggle in her face to try and find some weakness in Mathew, in me, anything.
A demon love a human?
Yep.
Impossible.
Not really.
You heard me. I
Yeah.
love her, Diana. I'd do
No.
anything for her. And she cares for me more than anyone in the abyssal plane ever
I
had.
don't know that. Maybe
More
your
than
mom.
you'll ever know. She makes me feel like the adult I'm supposed to be. And there's nothing you can do to change that. Ever.
Yeah, honey. So, no. Diana took a step back, physically feeling the sting of Matthew's words in her chest. She had lost. I could see it in her eyes. Diana's eyes grew dull as she glared at me and Mathew. It seemed almost uncharacteristic of her. It was something I wasn't surprised to see come from her face.
Very well. Fine. Valet.
And with that, Diana faded into the ground, into the purple pentagram, crossing her arms and almost looking upset. Mathew and I were left alone, left with the silence of the room. I finally let out the air I was unconsciously holding in my chest, relaxing from the ordeal. Mathew stepped to me and held me gently, surprising me.
Are you alright?
We are peachy. We just took out Diana. That's kinda cool. I nodded in response, unable to speak so immediately after being surprised. Mathew let out a sigh, relaxing in the embrace. I gently placed my arms around him, returning the embrace slightly. I could hear Mathew's heartbeat. He held me close in his arms, and I felt safe beyond words. Are you okay?
Of course I'm okay. I'm holding you.
Aww, this is why you're adorable. I looked up at Mathew, surprised at what he said. Mathew blushed, moving a strand of my hair from my face to look down at me.
You mean so much to me.
Aw,
You make me feel like more than just a kid.
because you're more
I've
than
never
just a
felt
kid.
this happy before with anyone. And here you are giving me every reason to love you.
Aww. Also, you're more than a kid. I swear I don't have a child fetish.
I love you so friggin' much.
Aw, I love you so friggin' much, too. I stared wide-eyed, blushing like a maniac. Was this real? No way. This couldn't be real. Was Mathew confessing to me? Confessing his love for me? Mathew gently caressed my cheek, staring into my eyes with a loving, almost hopeful expression. The warmth of his hand invited me to nuzzle into it, closing my eyes. This wasn't a dream. My heart was pounding hard enough where I was sure Mathew could hear it. Mathew gently leaned in, closing his eyes. He stopped, however, remaining just a mere torturous inch away from my lips. He wanted me to show my feelings for him. He had left himself open to me to kiss him or leave him empty. The power I had was unbelievable. And kissies. Mwah. I loved him. I wanted to give him exactly what he wanted. He gently leaned in, letting his lips finally touch his gingerly. Mathew had almost surprised a gasp before my lips began to wrap, both of his arms around my waist, pulling me close to him. I moved my arms up and around his neck, feeling the kiss between us deepen to a heated height. My chest was pounding, making me feel and see fireworks in my mind. Mathew was everything I desired. He was the man I wanted, demon or not. It was also supernatural to fall in love with someone so quickly. Maybe it was the sense of magic I was thrown into. Maybe it was Cupid playing with my heart. Either way, I found myself melting at the thought of him being with me. I found myself combing my fingers through Mathew's hair, making the man holding me softly tremble at my touch. He gently nibbled my lower lip, asking me to deepen the kiss between us even further. I easily teased him before finally opening my mouth slightly for him. His tongue gently danced with mine as one of his hands slid up my back and cradled my head. He gently leaned my body back, making me cling to him as the heat of our kisses rose higher and higher. Gently, though, Mathew slowed the kisses down and pulled away, staring down at me. His eyes burned for me, wanting me to melt and buckle in his arms. I could feel myself melt already. Mathew opened his mouth to speak, but as a very small blush ran along his cheeks, he was reduced to a shy silence. I stared as he tried to find the words to say in my eyes. I knew exactly what he wanted. He didn't need energy, though, right? Are you...
No, I
stared wide-eyed, feeling a blush on my cheeks grow. He didn't say anything more, but I knew what he would have followed if he continued. He wanted me. I was stunned. Was that appealing to him? Was his passion really that deep for me? Mathew gently nuzzled my forehead, losing the blush and finally being able to speak.
If you don't want to, we don't have to. I mean, it's up to you.
Aww. I could feel my mind go numb and purr at the idea. A moment for an incubus. He was the demon of sex, the purest form of lust and desire. One Merrill would have... And I know I have read this so many times already, so I do not know why this is not under the skip button. Enjoy it, too early, innocence and experienced. Yes and no. I forgot what they meant. You know what? Dude, just seduce me already. Let's go. Needed, wanted... Finally broke. Yeah, and sexy music's back. Mathew gently wrapped his arms around me and went back to kissing me passionately. I could feel energy whiz about me, making me open one eye to see blue light glowing around us. Oh, teleportation time. And we're in my bedroom. Yay! When the light subsided, I was in my bedroom, on my bed with Mathew above me. I stared as Mathew held a look of both lust and love. My heart skipped a beat simply from his gaze on me. This was okay. I wanted to see all of him and give myself to him. I gently guided his head to me, kissing him slowly and bringing him further into the mood. Mathew slid both his hoodie and his shirt off and tossed them to the side before cradling my head in his hands and kissing me deeply. I felt the heat rise in my body, making me undo the tie underneath my collar and release the buttons on my shirt. Quickly, I removed my shirt and vest, making Mathew stop kissing me and stare slight surprise. I was simply in a bra, but I could feel my blush invade my cheeks. My shy side began to fester in my mind. Did I really want this? To undress before a demon? No, this was the man I loved yet. I felt my innocence drape over me in almost shame. And we have read this so many times. My apologies. I needed to fight it. I quickly rolled both of us over to where I was sitting on Mathew's lap. Staring down at him, Mathew sat up, looking up at me with one of the most sexiest smiles I'd ever seen. Aw, look at that too. Mathew pulled me close, knowing I was still shy, and began to kiss my lips over and over. Each kiss was his promise to keep me safe, keep me comfortable, love me. I kept my arms wrapped around Matthew, taking each kiss he gave me and giving my own kisses in return. I didn't know if it was the fact that we were both top new or maybe just craved his touch, but I didn't want him to let go. However, as he held me, I could slightly feel the shiver of his hands. Was I his first? Okay, Matthew, I might actually believe you were his first. It wasn't going to tell me. He wanted me to enjoy this moment. Was he afraid of screwing up? His shivered hand showed me his emotions perfectly. As he laid me down and knelt over me, Matthew smiled and finally embraced me as we both desired. The pleasure between us would be heavenly, and we'd go through it together. I closed my eyes and gave myself to Matthew. And we belong to each other. Kisses over skin, passion-credible heights, moans breaths echoed. Enveloped in the embrace afterwards, skin to skin, heartbeats melting. I nuzzled my head under Matthew's chin as he held me close.
I love you.
Aww. I love you too. Just to hear those words come from Matthew's mouth made my heart flutter. To hear me answer made my soul warm and bleed. I could feel both of us sink into peaceful sleep together. It was the best sleep I had had in days, and I was happy. I had love, and I had my happiness. My life was simply perfect. When I opened my eyes, I found myself staring to Matthew's bare chest. I blushed, but looked up to see Matthew still sleeping. His sleeping face made me giggle softly. The reality situation made my heart flutter. And skip button, yay, and hello, and no, you get nothing, go away. Bye-bye. And we actually have seen this many times. Your life went back to normal-ish, except for the boys are still living with you. You promised to take care of Matthew. Love was powerful, overwhelmed with joy. Human-demon love, who would have thunk it? It was true. The boys left of their own accord. I didn't totally kick them out. I mean, I might have suggested it, but I didn't push. And Matthew's proved he can take care of me. I mean, us. That Matthew understands, and his brothers understand, and we all just want to be happy. Promised to love Matthew forever and ever, and I did. But what of my future? You graduated, however, James became CEO. He's very charismatic, he does a very good job. It's like he was destined to have it or something. He brings the company to its former glory and makes it even grander. Good job. His grandfather would be proud. With the CEO position, your dad finally backs off. And you can decide your own future. Yay! But what did you want to do other than Matthew? Oh, at least you had the time to figure it all out. And you were so happy. Then one day, many years later, you wake up in your room thinking about all of this. It was all real, and you feel like your soul is dancing. I let out a happy sigh before looking up and seeing where I wandered to. I realized that I was standing in the dining room. I stopped at the smell of baked goods. Taking a gigantic whiff, I let the smell of sugar and sweets fill my senses. Matthew must be baking again. I tiptoed over and peeked into the kitchen, wanting to see what he was making.
Almost done.
With what? I watched as Matthew started to decorate an already wonderful-looking cake with blue and white frosting. Oh, his colors! It looked delicious. I was practically salivating. However, as I watched him, I smiled. He looked so concentrated in his work. It was adorable.
And there! Perfect!
Aww. Well, it's perfect because you made it, but... Matthew stepped back from the cake, allowing me to see his masterpiece. It indeed was perfect. I wanted to taste it soon. That looks amazing, Matthew.
What?
Yeah, a boy indeed. Matthew quickly turned to me in surprise before hiding the cake as I laughed.
I'm not done. I mean...
Aw, you're so cute, flustered. Matthew? I walked over and smiled, gave him a kiss before walking around him to the cake. Closer, it looks all the more scrumptious. What is this for?
Well, I mean, it's for something pretty important.
Really? Is it one of your bros' birthdays? I looked to Mathew, raising an eyebrow as he wrapped an arm around my waist. What is it for?
Guess! I'll give you 3 chances.
Birth of our son, Murder Fairy Squirrel? Or what? What if I don't get it right?
Then the cake is all mine.
No! Pouty face. Hey, no fair. Instinctively, I wanted to pull away, but Mathew laughed and dabbed some whipped cream on my nose from a nearby decorating spatula.
It's totally fair. Now just guess.
Is it your birthday? Mathew shook his head.
Nope. Second guess.
Birth of our son? Is it an anniversary? Mathew nodded, but before I could cheer, Mathew rotated his hand, gesturing me to continue.
Anniversary of?
First time we made out? I puffed my cheeks. I could memorize facts and lessons, but dates were bad. It was like asking a girly girl when her boyfriend's frat party was. Mathew laughed before he kissed my cheek, making me puff my cheeks to deflate.
It's the anniversary of when we first met.
Aww. So it was kind of close because she gave me the Murder Fairy Squirrel on the first night, so yeah. I had practically forgotten. He was right. It had been a couple of years since I moved in and met Mathew and his brothers. He threw a party last year for it. How could I have forgotten? Time definitely flew. Mathew smiled at me, making my heart flutter and squee once again.
I want to celebrate it every year in a different way.
Oh?
Next year will be something extraordinary. For now, though, this cake will do.
Aww. That's awesome. Also, it doesn't always have to be extraordinary to be great. I quickly pulled Mathew's head down with my hand and kissed him sweetly, wanting to show my appreciation with the kiss. He stared at me and his greatest wish had come true. I fought back a giggle at the sight. Mathew gently pulled me to him, hugging me to his chest. I nuzzled into his chest, hearing a gentle heartbeat and memorizing its tempo.
I love you.
Oh, I love you too. Before I could finish, suddenly the cake, which had been sitting silently and peacefully on the counter, exploded into a giant mess on it. Mathew, luckily, was quick enough to pull us back before we were hit with flying cake pieces. No! A cake!
What the?
I looked at the cake to see a very mischievous little creature standing over the cake, triumphant at what it had done. I began to laugh as Mathew grew red-faced. Oh, our son's playing!
Simon Tabby!
I quickly rushed over and grabbed Simon, who made a squeak noise in my hands. I was still giggling as Mathew came over and glared daggers at the white doll covered in cake. Aww, that's so cute. To calm Mathew down, however, I stretched up on my toes and kissed him softly on the lips. Wow, how short are you, girl? I assumed you would actually be taller than him. Mathew started to kiss back, not wanting to let go of me without a kiss of my own. I love you, Mathew. Mathew sighed before smiling at me, finally calm.
I love you too.
Aww. Now we have cake to clean, damn it. I didn't want to wake up, but this was indeed a dream. I felt light as a feather, not wanting to ever let go of the man in my life. There was no words that could describe the emotions within me. I felt joy, happiness, ecstatic high all at once. Here I was with the man I would be with forever, with a cake I would be delighted in, even in pieces. 30-second rule? I had gained the heart of a demon, now the man I loved. I vowed to cherish him and love him for the remainder of my days and beyond. Could a demon love a human forever? I knew Mathew would. Or die trying! By our son, the Murder Fairy Squirrel. And that was my happily ever after. And Mathew's cake. N. New password unlocked, Dylan Wall. And that was Mathew's route. I know how to say words. I really do. And with that, we conclude one more of the romance paths. There is one more left after this. And we unlocked the achievement for it as well. Go us, woo. When we come back, we'll be wrapping things up with our last path to do, which will be my least favorite of all the characters in this series, Sam. I'm so ecstatic about that. Yay. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. So until next, tack like a hello.